Hi, I'm Steve Adubato. Welcome to another compelling program. We kick off with the former governor. By the way, what governor are you? What number, Jim?
52.
Would you have to think about that? That's Jim McGreevey. He's the 52nd governor, former governor, chairman of the New Jersey Reentry Corporation. Over his right shoulder is a picture of the late, great Robert Kennedy. I have Jack Kennedy over my shoulder downstairs, not in this studio, a different one. But we will not talk about the Kennedys. But we are going to, first of all, welcome, Jim.
Welcome, Stephen. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Hey, listen, early on in the pandemic, we're taping this on the end of June. You remember budget season, right?
Of course.
I know you try to forget about it. But right now, as we look back, early on in the pandemic, if I'm not mistaken, approximately 3,000 prisoners were released because of safety reasons. Governor Murphy made that decision. Those 3,000 prisoners and others who are released, because that is the work of the New Jersey Reentry Corporation, what do they need and what aren't they getting?
Well, you know, the first thing that I'll say, Steve, is that the public health emergency, the release went far better than any of us could have expected, and that's the good news. I think by virtue of the fact that so many people were being released at a specific moment in time, that people put their shoulders to the wheel, that people understood the importance of collaboration, whether it's Rutgers Medical School, healthcare providers, housing vendors. And so it went very, very well. I think if you could, one of the great lessons was that whatever is not done behind the wall, I mean by that in prison, whether it's registering people for Medicaid, your motor vehicle commission ID or driver's license, getting people registered for SNAP, food stamps, or general assistance. Doing it during the pandemic out in the community is so much harder. And yesterday, a great piece of legislation passed by Senate President Steve Sweeney and Senator Sandra Bolden Cunningham that's frankly going to require the Department of Corrections to do so much more behind the wall. So if I can, the public health emergency went far better than expected. We were very much concerned during the height of COVID that people weren't going to be able to go home. Obviously, people returning home to elderly parents and family members. We work closely with shelters, particularly Catholic Charities. People were concerned that if they came in with a fever, they were going to be turned away. We were able to open sanctuaries, working with churches and mosques and temples that literally allowed people to stay in those facilities until they brought their temperature down, until they were able to ascertain their temperature. And then we work cooperatively with social service agencies. So overall, it went well. What we learned is what's ever not done behind the wall has to be done in the street in real time, much more difficult. The big challenge now is employment.
Employment, housing. Let's talk employment. If we've had so many people, by the way, when I refer to the governor as Jim, it's because we go back a very long way.
Long time.
Yeah, that just means I'm old. You're not old.
You look a lot better.
And no, that's not true, because I didn't have the pressures you had as governor. But you ready for this? I keep thinking, we've had so many guests on, Jim, talking about the labor pool, that there aren't enough people to fill the jobs. And then I'm thinking, okay, but there are issues connected to ex-prisoners, ex-offenders who are out now. Shouldn't there be jobs for them?
Yep. Well, so part of the challenge, Steve, is, and if I can give a shout out to Michelle Sakurka of New Jersey Business and Industry Association, Commissioner Rob Acero-Angelo, who's doing a great job. So,
Commissioner of Labor?
The Commissioner of Labor, I'm sorry. And so what happens is that there are those transitional jobs. You can get a job for 6 months. You can get a job that may not have health benefits. And so those transitional jobs are out there. What we're trying to do is to give people careers. And so working with the Department of Labor, working with NJBIA, we're getting people their commercial driver's license. We're getting people their HVAC. We're getting people licensed for Cisco certification for networking and routing. We're having people certified to become a solar panel technician, for general construction, lining them up for a pre-apprenticeship to get into the building trades, whether it's the laborers or whether it's the iron workers. And so what our whole focus is, I mean, there are times when we look at transitional jobs and We're working closely with mayors like, Mayor Baraka, our county exec, Joe DiFrancesco, Mayor Cahill in New Brunswick, Mayor Bolwich in Elizabeth, Mayor Davis in Bayonne, that are giving guys and gals temporary jobs in public works that are just simply a paycheck, no health benefits. But during that course of stabilization, we're sending them to our reentry training center to give them a certification. A guy like, say, for example, I was just with Rich Liebler from Sansone Auto, does a lot of work with our vets. If a guy has a diesel mechanic certification from the Ford Motor Company or BMW, I don't care what his background, that guy or gal will get a job. And so that's what we're all about. We have a new training center in Kearney, New Jersey, 25,000 square feet, 9 classrooms, 15 offices, and it's driving the pipeline through credentials.
By the way, Jim, I should have give me 30 seconds on the New Jersey Reentry Corporation, because I just introduced you as if everybody knows what it is.
Well, no, thank you. I mean, Steve, what we're about is we have 11,000 people that have throughout central and northern Jersey come out of state prison, come out of county jail, come out of addiction treatment services. So these are people that have been locked up or in treatment and now they're coming home. I mean, they need, frankly, an ID. None of us think about the importance. If Steve Adubato didn't have his driver's license, if I didn't have my credit card, how would I survive? It's linking people to housing, addiction treatment, a lot of times mental health when they're coming home, and most importantly, training and employment.
Go back to housing. New Jersey, one of the most expensive states in the nation when it comes to housing. How challenging has that been for ex-offenders?
It's brutal. I mean, I shouldn't say this on the air, but we put more people.
Say it on the air.
But we put more people into illegal housing. I mean, what we love is the mom and pop or the mother-daughter routine, where somebody can live into a house and maybe help do the chores to have their rent reduced. But it's difficult. It's, to think about coming out of prison, you're not going to get a job that's going to pay you $24,000 plus the cost of renting an apartment, whether you're talking about Jersey City, Elizabeth, or New Brunswick. And so we've got to look to a lot of mother daughters and opportunities for people, frankly, to give a break to people. And that's why I appreciate the legislation, Senator Singleton's legislation that Governor Murphy signed.
Is that the Fair Chance in Housing Act?
Yep.
Which does what? I got 30 seconds, Jim.
30 seconds. What it does is it says, look, it gives people a break. It's understanding that when you're coming out, you're trying to rebuild your credit, you're trying to rebuild your life. You don't want to be knocked out because of that criminal background. You can explore that after the conditional offer has been made, but it's allowing people to live healthy lives, to have a job, to have a house, and be part of, God willing, the second chance of the American dream.
Hey, Jim, before I let you go, how many interviews do you think we've done together? To get conservative, I know you're not a conservative estimate of the number of interviews.
Pretty center of the road. Over our life, I think we're like looking at 30.
I just checked it. It's 27.
Hey.
Feels like more. It feels longer than that, right?
It feels a little longer than that.
That's Jim McGreevey. I'm Steve Adubato. More importantly, we'll be back after this. Thank you, Governor.
Thanks, my friend. Godspeed.
Same to you. We'll be right back.
State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, the Healthcare Foundation of New Jersey, Wells Fargo, the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, NJM Insurance Group, Choose New Jersey, Summit Health, Rowan University, and by the Adler Aphasia Center. Promotional support provided by New Jersey Monthly and by the New Jersey Business and Industry Association.
Hi, I'm Governor Tom Kean. A dear friend of mine had aphasia, which is a language disorder that occurs from a brain injury or a stroke. It robs a person's ability to communicate, but it doesn't affect their intellect. Programs and services offered at the Adler Aphasia Center helped to improve my friend's communication skills, as well as her self-confidence and quality of life. Most importantly, she was among people who understood her. If you or a loved one has been diagnosed with aphasia, there is hope.